A big wine-filled weekend for 6 judges as they tasted their way through a record-breaking 371 wines from nearly 100 Oregon wineries.
Amazing, honestly amazing. It hasn't felt like being a judge, it's more felt like being given an opportunity to really appreciate and experience this kind of extraordinary breadth and depth and diversity that is clearly being produced here in Oregon.
Every year, the judges tour a section of Oregon wine country. This year, it was a snapshot of the southern part of the state. They learned about the Oregon wine experience's beginnings, why that seed was planted 20 years ago. They also heard about everything from farming practices and climate to winemaking styles and diverse varieties.
The quality of wines in Southern Oregon has magnified beauty of multiple varieties that are shining here show the diversity of what can be grown here beautifully.
So it's been about 7 years since I have been to the area and was fortunate enough to judge in the competition. I would say in general, I've seen a rise in quality across the board, which is really exciting.
While the panels didn't always agree on the wines in front of them, there was one variety they all say stood out.
The Syrahs that we tasted, probably largely from Southern Oregon, are really excellent. There's some real stars in that group.
I judged here last in 2015. There were 3 judges at that time. There were 21 Syrahs. We didn't give a single gold medal that year. And I don't know how many Syrahs we had this year total yet, but I know that our panel judged half of them, and we gave several gold medals, and I think we all came away very impressed by the strides that have been making with respect to Syrah in Oregon.
Really fantastic Rhone varieties, Pinot Noirs across the board, Chardonnay, and then so much promise in other varieties that maybe not as many entries, but you see the potential in it and hope for more and hope that that can be a part of the future of Oregon.
There was plenty of discussion on focus and diversity as well.
As someone who worked, who's really focused on the commercial end of the business, I think focus is key because the average consumer can only take in so much information, only understand so much. So you have to make it simple for them.
There's a beautiful fruit purity, I think, to Oregon fruit. It's that sort of big sky, blue sky, and sort of fresh air that somehow comes through, I think, in the best wines, certainly. There's this sort of open quality to them that both in the reds and the whites, and this obviously it's to do with the acidity and so forth, but all together across lots of different varieties and lots of different expressions, that's what really spoke to me.
I think the diversity of Oregon in general is paramount, specifically once you get outside of the Willamette. And as soon as you try to pigeonhole yourself into one thing, it sort of disqualifies the rest, for better or worse. And I'm a big believer in diversity in many ways, so I really think that there's a lot to be gleaned from the different microclimates here, like truly.
Overall, the judges say it was an eye-opening experience that left them wanting more.
Very thoughtful wines. You could tell that the winemakers put a lot of thought into blending this variety with that variety, and as a result, the wines were really seamless and individualistic and refreshing. They delivered a lot of not only interest, but a lot of pleasure, which is the first role of wine.
There's the sort of pioneering spirit. There's an idea that there is so much more to discover here and so much that needs to be brought to a wider audience.